Jun is a total loser when it comes to love, but his life changes when two twin sisters fall for him. However, he doesn't know who to choose, so he decides to be with both. The story begins with the protagonist meeting the twins, Rumi and Naori. They're neighbors, so they start spending time together and eventually become really close friends. As time goes on, Rumi starts catching feelings for him, but she feels like he's a better match for her sister, since they both love reading. Because of that, she decides she'll never confess her feelings. Years pass, and now the three of them are teenagers. Even though Rumi promised herself she wouldn't confess, one day she just can't hold it in anymore. She tells Jun how she feels, and asks him to be her boyfriend. And to her surprise, he says yes. So they start going out together, having fun, visiting all kinds of places like a normal couple. For Jun, the relationship is completely secret, but Rumi told Naori about it, who said she's happy for her and that she supports her. But as time passes, Rumi starts feeling like a terrible sister. So one day, she suddenly breaks up with Jun, leaving him completely confused. Now let's talk about Naori. She's been in love with him since they were kids, but she never said anything either. When Rumi told her she was dating Jun, she pretended to be happy, but obviously it hit her hard, and she couldn't stop wondering what they were doing when they were alone. After breaking up with Jun, Rumi admits she still has feelings for him, but thinks it was time to put an end to it. Even so, she says it was fun. While a bit later, Naori says the whole situation is just ridiculous. What Naori doesn't know is that when Rumi broke up with Jun, she asked him for one last favor, to date Naori, because she believes Naori is the right one for him. A whole week goes by and Jun does nothing. So Rumi goes to his house to ask when he's going to start dating her sister. But before that, Junan goes to the bathroom and she takes the chance to smell his bed sheets. Anyway, the point is she tells him she ended the relationship so he could be with Naori, who's loved him since they were kids. That surprises him, but even then, he doesn't want to do it. Until Rumi suddenly jumps at him, almost kisses him, but remembers her sister and begs him to go out with Naori. Not long after that, Jun asks Naori out. She's not sure if he's trying to use her as a rebound, but she's willing to play along. That same day, they meet at his house. Then they go to the movies and watch a romantic film. After that, they go for a walk until they get to this place. That's when Jun remembers what Rumi asked him, so without wasting any time, he asks Naori to be his girlfriend. She doesn't give him a clear answer and just hugs him instead. Remember that because things are going to get complicated later. Later that day, Naori goes back home and tells her sister that Jun asked her to be his girlfriend. Rumi is really happy for her and reassures her that she fully supports her. Naori is a very direct and playful girl. So the next day, she goes to Jun's house. She gets into his bed and asks him to join her, setting up a romantic moment and then asks him for a kiss. Back at school, her friend Sarah says Rumi is an idiot, pointing out that Jun could fall for Naori. Rumi responds that if that happens, she'll feel like she did the right thing as a sister, but her friend tells her she should think more about her own feelings. On the other hand, Jun has two friends. First, there's Mizuma, who will be important later. And then there's Makoto, a desperate guy who's obsessed with melons. Makoto used to be interested in Naori, but gave up when he found out she was in love with Jun. He knows the whole situation, and like the degenerate he is, he tells Jun to take advantage of it and live the dream of being with both girls. At that moment, Jun admits he feels conflicted because while he was dating Rumi, he developed feelings for her and still hasn't moved on. Speaking of Rumi, she loves playing basketball. But today she has a little accident and hurts her wrist. She worked really hard to become a starter, so that night she doesn't want to eat or talk to anyone. Jun goes to talk to her and finds her completely depressed, feeling like nothing is going right for her. He doesn't know what to do to make her feel better, so he offers his shoulder so she can cry. The moment becomes a bit romantic and she even gets ready for a kiss, but right then Naori interrupts them. Rumi leaves the room saying she feels better. When Naori asks what he did to help her, Jun says nothing special, but she knows something happened. The next day, Makoto talks to Naori. He tells her he knows everything, and also reveals that she was Jun's first love. That makes her tear up and she says she'll fix everything herself. At the same time, Rumi tells Jun they shouldn't be alone together anymore because they almost kissed and that can't happen again. Jun admits Naori was his first love but explains that he fell for Rumi when they started dating. When Rumi asks why he never told her he loved her, he says he assumed she already knew. In the end, Rumi says that just like he moved on from her sister, he'll move on from her too and fall for Naori again. That would make him a jerk, but she insists it's for the best. So Jun agrees to forget about Rumi and she walks away, hiding her tears. A week passes and the couple goes on a date to the aquarium. Naori looks really happy, while Jun remembers when he came with Rumi. She notices he's distracted and tells him to focus. So they spend the day walking around and exploring the place. Nothing much happens except the wind betrays her at one point, and Jun gets an unexpected view. A few days later, Naori visits him at his house again. Without wasting time, she pulls him into bed and starts getting more intimate. She tells him he can go further, that he can do whatever he likes. But Jun suddenly thinks about Rumi and says that even though they're dating, he doesn't want to take things that far. That's when Naori reminds him they're not actually dating, since she never clearly said yes. She then reveals she already knew everything, that Rumi broke up with him for her sake, and that she's been suffering. Then she shows her darker side, saying she only wanted to make him fall for her just to abandon him like a dog. But now she tells him he's free to go back to her sister. Jun says he doesn't want that. He was thinking about ending things with her so he can sort out his feelings. He admits he finds Naori attractive, but needs time to think. That makes her blush because she really is in love with him. Now she feels like she's paid her debt to Rumi and can finally fight for him without holding back. But first, she needs to talk to her sister. During their conversation, Naori reveals she was never Junin's girlfriend. We learn that Rumi dated Jun for a year, but her plan was always to break up with him so her sister can be with him. Naori says she never asked for help and that she can get what she wants on her own. She didn't like the fact that Rumi pitied her, and they end up yelling at each other. But in the end, Naori tells her she won't hold back anymore and asks Rumi to do the same. She warns her that if she keeps pretending she doesn't want Jun, she'll regret it. In other words, she pretended to be Jun's girlfriend to prove that wasn't the right way to handle things. At the same time, Makoto complains to Jun for not taking things further with Naori. Jun admits he still doesn't know who he should choose. That annoys Makoto, since no one pays attention to him. The next day, the three of them meet before school. Naori says the best thing to do is accept that they're in a love triangle and declares she'll become Jun's girlfriend when she becomes the #1 student. However, Jun says he's decided to stay away from romance for now. But when the exam results come out, he's still ranked #1 anyway. That's when Amamiya, a beautiful model, asks him to help her study. He doesn't know her very well, but Rumi had already told him her friend might ask for help. Turns out she may be pretty, but she's not very bright, since she failed all her exams. So after school, she invites them to her house. Interestingly, she wanted to confirm whether Rumi liked Jun, and of course Rumi said no. They grab something to eat and agree that Amamiya will show her grades so they can figure out what she needs to study. Later, they walk back home together, and right then, Naori runs into them. Amamiya acts like she's the queen of the school. So Naori can't stand her, but she calms down when she finds out Amamiya has a cat, since she loves cats too. Even so, she doesn't like the idea of him helping Amamiya, but Jun tells her he has his reasons. The next day, Jun meets up with Amamiya again, but this time he's completely alone since Rumi couldn't make it. Before they start studying, Amamiya decides to take a shower, and a little while later she comes out half-dressed, pretending she got distracted. Then they start studying and eventually end up talking about love. Amamiya had already suspected that Jun and Rumi used to date, and he confirms it without any problem. Then she admits there's someone she's interested in but doesn't reveal who it is, only saying that he goes to the same school. At the same time, the sisters meet up. Rumi tells Naori not to worry, assuring her that Jun is not Amamiya's type. The next day, Jun goes back to her house, but Amamiya wants to take a break. So they go to a shopping mall since the twins' birthday is coming up and he needs to buy gifts. The problem is, Naori happens to be there with a friend. She sees them together and immediately assumes the worst. As if that wasn't enough, she even sends pictures to Rumi, where Amamiya is feeding him like a baby. That same day, the sisters meet again. Rumi insists that Amamiya is not into Jun. She believes Amamiya likes someone else, but Naori isn't completely convinced. So the next day, she decides to join him during the study session. Amamiya welcomes her with a big smile, and Naori instantly loses it over her cat. Amamiya treats her so kindly that Naori even ends up falling asleep. By the end of the day, Naori admits they could become friends, and then they walk back home holding hands. A whole week goes by. The twins' birthday is tomorrow, but Rumi also has a basketball game. Because of that, Jun meets with her today to give her a present, which turns out to be a thermos, something really useful for her as an athlete. She thanks him with a hug while admitting she loves him with all her heart. She then asks him for a good luck kiss, and even though Jun hesitates, she just takes it herself. And just like that, the birthday finally arrives. After school, Jun stays at Naori's house and gives her his gift. It's a seal plushie, which is a bit weird, but she likes that kind of stuff. Everything seems fine, but Naori doesn't like the fact that he met Rumi first. Jun explains that it was just his way of wishing her luck, but she still starts crying, asking him to stop hiding things from her. He apologizes, promising to be more open and to spend more time with her, which obviously calms her down. Later that day, Rumi comes back home, saying she won her game, and that's how the day ends. Rumi is another match, and this time we actually see a bit of it, but only the ending, where she scores the winning point. A few days later, she plays again, but since she stood out so much before, she gets heavily marked. Can't do anything, and this time her team loses. That night, she spends the night crying. The next day, she runs into Mizuma, a practice teammate who suddenly confesses that he likes her. After school, Rumi asks her friend for advice. Since he didn't actually ask her out, she suggests acting like nothing happened, while thinking about how to reject him if he asks her later. The next day, Rumi talks to him again. Trying to push him away, she tells him that both she and her sister are in love with Jun. Even so, he still asks her out and tells her to think about it. This makes it clear that Mizuma thinks he still has a chance. So Sara tells Rumi that if she likes Jun, she should stop messing around and just get back with him. After thinking about it for a few days, Rumi finally tells Mizuma she can't go out with him. But he's so desperate that he asks her to hang out as friends, and she says she'll think about it. Oh, and almost forgot, Amamiya passed her exams and now she's friends with Naori. She was never interested in Jun, she was just teasing him because it was fun to see him get nervous. Going back to Mizuma, Rumi tells Jun everything and asks if he's okay with her going out with him. Jun tells her she can do whatever she wants since he's not her boyfriend anymore. That makes her really mad, so she throws her phone and Naori ends up comforting her. Rumi explains the situation and Naori realizes she just wanted Jun to stop her. Still, Naori suggests she go on the date because it would be interesting to see how Jun reacts. If you're wondering why she doesn't just reject him, it's because they're good friends and she feels bad about being too harsh. At school, Jun apologizes for what happened the night before, saying Mizuma is his friend and he doesn't want to interfere, but he admits he doesn't like the idea. Then Rumi tells him she's going out with Mizuma. Turns out one of her friends begged Mizuma to date her, but he broke up with her after a week saying he likes someone else. Everyone assumed it was because of Rumi, and since Mai still likes him, Rumi will accept the date to ask him about her. After hearing that, Jun gives his approval and wishes her luck. The next day, Rumi goes on the date while Jun meets Naori at school for an activity. Everything seems fine, but then Mizuma sends Jun a message saying he's serious about Rumi. That obviously worries him, so Naori tells him he can go if he wants. But before he leaves, she gives him a goodbye kiss. Meanwhile, Rumi is spending time with Mizuma. When she asks about her friend, he says he doesn't feel anything for her and wants her to forget about him. At the same time, Jun runs toward them since Naori told him where they were. He finds them talking happily, and that's when he decides to be honest. He admits he loves both of them and that it's not easy for him to choose after everything they've been through. Even so, he asks for more time, promising he'll make a decision. Rumi says that's fine, but Mizuma says he should just choose already. Still, Rumi likes the fact that he doesn't want to decide lightly. In the end, Mizuma's plan worked because he just wanted to test Jun's feelings. That same night, Naori pretends she's spending the night with her friends, but later meets up with Jun. Since he went after Rumi and didn't come back, she wants to spend the night with him as compensation. Of course, he refuses at first, but she insists so much that he eventually gives in. Before anything, John goes to take a shower. But while he's in there, Naori turns off the lights and walks in completely naked. She wants them to bathe together, but he runs away like the loser he is. Later, she gets into his bed. John tells her this isn't right, but they end up kissing anyway. Then she asks him to be her boyfriend in secret. John refuses, saying Rumi doesn't deserve that. And shortly after, they both fall asleep. The next day, their parents organize a camping trip, so now Jun has to spend the night with both of them. Their parents get along well, and throughout the whole story, they've been hinting that Jun should marry one of the twins. The three of them hang out together, but it's been a while since they were all together like this, so the twins start arguing. Naori says Rumi should have never dated Jun because that's what ruined everything. Rumi fires back, saying Naori is just jealous because she never had the courage to confess. So Naori slaps her, Rumi hits back just as hard, and Jun has to step in. He tells them he's afraid of making a choice because he doesn't want to hurt either of them. He admits he's a coward and wishes there was a way for the three of them to stay together. The twins say that's impossible, so he asks them to please give him more time. After that, they go back to school, where everyone just hangs out, and that's how the season ends. If you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and see you on the next one.